Alright, hello and welcome back everyone here, Starladder Season 10, China Day 2. We're moving along quickly, which is great, not giving me much time, and hopefully same for Blaze here, to be tired as we're rolling right along. So Helium and Blaze, we're back, here's the draft.
Yeah, just riding off adrenaline and going into this next one here. Tongfu versus Invictus Gaming should be pretty interesting, and we do see a different opener than what we saw before. I mean, the Shadow Shaman Viper, I mean, these are heroes we see frequently, but not always the most popular Phase 1 pick, so should be interesting to see what they are able to accomplish with this kind of setup here.
Yeah, so the Batrider gets through. I believe it was banned out in the last game, which is why we saw that, maybe not the exact reason why we saw the Magnus, but that Magnus pretty much acted as a Batrider that entire last game with those, the blinks and the skewers out. This time, of course, Batrider looking to have the blink lasso as Tongfu picking up the Lifestealer third. I mean, they get the Viper. That's kind of the main hero that really slows down that lifesteal even through the Rage. Venomancer still available, and Invictus Gaming is still looking for supports. We'll see what Tongfu want to do, whether they pick up the Venom themselves, ban it out on their last phase here, or if Invictus Gaming are even worried about it, as there are more than just slows to deal with Lifestealer. You can also get those stuns that go through Magic Immunity to help out.
Yeah. I think the Darkseer pickup is really inspired here. The Surge will be able to counteract the Viper Strike slow, the Open Wound slow, even the Chicken will be really fast. So it's very strong, but as far as laning goes, I'm not sure exactly how they want to do it. We've seen some varying ideas as far as how they play it out, but I guess they might do a little bit of a switcheroo where sometimes the Batrider is jungling, sometimes he's laning, and they might pick up just another hero that can facilitate that with some early stacks. Either way, the Radiant Jungle is going to be of the utmost importance here. Ion Shell, Firefly, both great at clearing out the neutral camps, and they definitely want that to be one of their main sources of income to compensate for the fact that their first three heroes are relatively greedy as far as their general intentions for progression. Darkseer wants this mech, Brew and Bat want the Blink Daggers, and yeah, obviously they're going to need to keep pace quickly because Tongfu have a lineup that can actually be very active with just like 3,000, 4,000 gold apiece.
Yeah, I mean, Lifestealer's a carry that definitely gets online a little bit earlier than most with the built-in sort of, 6-second BKB when maxed out, which is going to be fantastic. Centaur with the move speed, Stampede, incredible damage from Double Edge early on, just needs to get the blink. Viper with the early mech, and Shadow Shaman just needs level 6, and suddenly your towers are in a grave danger on the side of Invictus Gaming. Though they've definitely got some tower defense. They can't really clear the wards with the big Primal Split, the lasso to force Tongfu out of position on the Batrider, and of course the Wall of Replica from Darkseer. But I gotta say, I really don't have the facts to back this up, but I feel like whenever I watch Batrider and Darkseer, it's synergy, right? Like, you think it would work so well with the Surge once you have the lasso. I feel like the win rate is maybe lower than you would expect.
I think a lot of teams are having trouble finding where the laning works. It's similar to how there were issues with Batrider and Centaur working. In the earlier stages of 6.81, people wanted to run it because Stampede and Lasso sounds really cool, but at the same time, they weren't able to really find where these heroes could really make their mark on the map. Like, the offlane is great for both those heroes, but you're not going to be wanting them to go for a dual lane. Though I actually have seen a Batrider Centaur dual lane, and it worked out fantastically. So
yeah, we cast that together
with that 100% win rate of that duo off-lane Bat Centaur. I guess that's Simba, but no, more often we see like the rotation of roles. Like, we've seen the Centaur kind of go into the safe lane farming position. That's pretty nice. Maybe that's something they could look into for the Darkseer, but I don't know. Would you feel comfortable going up against Tongfu's lineup without a traditional hard carry?
5 seconds.
No, I wouldn't. Lifestealer is going to be terrifying. Viper is also very relevant, even into the pretty far into the late game. Centaur also becomes even a tower pushing threat after it gets a lot of strength items. You got a squishy Ancient Apparition now, so yeah, I'd expect Invictus Gaming either really looking to outplay here with this draft or looking for a big carry as their last pick.
Yeah, I think IG are going to be looking for either Weaver or Faceless Void.
I was going to say Weaver with that Ancient Apparition.
Void is also in the pool still, so Faceless Void and Weaver are the two heroes that will just completely counter what Tongfu have. The Lifestealer either takes a ton of physical damage from Geminate or just gets caught inside the Chrono Ice Blast and doesn't get a chance to do anything. No feast, no nothing. So yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty cut and dry way of looking at it. So he's going to be gone, but I don't know. It still brings the question of lanes. If they go for a Weaver here, it's going to be great with the Ancient Apparition as a duo, and I guess they just have to have somebody that actually commits himself to the jungle in full.
And Drakiro will be dropped out. Again, just looking to take out some of that early push, that early aggression. And great, honestly, great teamfight control. Instead, Dazzle will come out, also helps with the push, can clear the creep wave really, really early on with the shadow wave, or if they look to be fighting quite often, can skill up the shallow grave first. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I see a lot of people kind of just keeping 1 point in the poison touch to have it, because now that you don't get any sort of stun on it until rank 4, I don't know, it's definitely not as good as the shallow grave or the shadow wave in my mind.
Yeah, it's a really good skill in like pubs, but when you pick up a Dazzle, you don't want his poison touch. You're not really worried about the target being slowed down again when you have Viper and Lifestealer. So they're going to be pretty confident just to go for maybe like a 0-4-4 build. The poison touch being essentially just a Lincoln's popper. And beyond that, Tinker is going to be the final pickup for Invictus Gaming. Doesn't really synergize well with the Chilling Touch or Ice Blast, as we were talking about with the Weaver and the Void. But, you know, if they have a lineup that can just manage it the way they want to, Ferrari's an amazing Tinker player, and a vacuum into Ice Blast with a couple of rockets flying about, still going to be pretty devastating.
Yeah, we saw one Tinker today fall a little bit short, and it's not going to be an easy game for him. He's probably going to have a lot of pressure on him from this Dazzle, the Shadow Shaman, rotating, maybe trying to disrupt him a little bit, or, you know, saving anyone from the early kills that Tinker could potentially get. Dazzle with that Shallow Grave. But Boots to travel up on Ferrari 430 early on, as looks like everyone is frozen to me. Yeah, looks like we're having to catch up with the Perfect World servers.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I was kind of glancing at Twitter on the side, so maybe it's a universal issue and I'm just blind. Either way, as far as how the game's going to play out, a lot of outliers looking here is when the Centaur Blink is going to come out, and if he's going to be good enough of an anti-Tinker player to be able to find him out in the tree line. Like, if you get an Infest Bomb with a Centaur right on top of the Tinker, there's no way he gets out of that, even with BOGs off cooldown. But at the same time, if he's the only one who can do it, like nobody else can, he can weave the trees, I guess, and see him, but that's a little awkward. And this Tinker with just a Blink Dagger alone should be a really difficult individual to pin down. Beyond that, late game, we're talking Ferrari 430 Ethereal Blade and how he uses it against the Lifestealer. When the Lifestealer is raged, obviously you can't use the E-Blade on him, but you can always just use it on his target and make him have to just pretty much wait out that full duration. So we're not going to be seeing the Diffusal Viper, I don't think. And that means that Ferrari is going to be kind of able to control where the fight plays out and who the focus is on with that Ethereal Blade pickup once he gets it.
Alright, so your game is working here? Everyone's moving around? It's not just like people moving 2,000 units?
If they're stuttering and having significant delay, my best recommendation is to just restart in Dota 2 as full. Because just disconnecting and reconnecting only Band-Aid fixes it, and then it comes back pretty quickly.
Alright, well, we're going to throw up that overlay so you can keep... You're going to go radio show Dota right now.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Blazecasting broadcast of Radio Dota 2. This is Starladder, China. Invictus Gaming versus Tongfu.
Like if Dota were out in 1930.
Exactly. Oh, that would be awesome. I would tune to that every night. But imagine the metagame of the roaring 20s and the 30s there. I don't know. Anyways, let's look at
Monster Cat would all be big band music instead of some nice, whatever, electronica dubstep. I don't want to get people up in arms about what genre it is, so...
For sure. Alrighty, so let's look at the rosters here. We're going to be seeing IG's Chuan running on the Ancient Apparition. Batrider is going to be played by June on the offlane, Boots first. It's going to be a solo mid Tinker on the Ferrari 430. Going to start in the jungle, it's going to be Chizbug on the Darkseer on Shell already, and Stout Shelled, of course. Already, a lot of damage coming down bottom. It's going to be the first blood. Actually, no, that's sad.
Oh, I'm there.
Keeping him alive.
Alright, just in time to not miss anything here. Red is, pretty low. Almost went down.
They got the clap, they got a lot of Chilling Touch damage, but it just barely wasn't enough to finish him off. And, he walks away, though, being zoned very hard here. Only has 3 tangos left and a lot of health to recover. So I don't even know if he's going to get Tranquil Boots before the first time he has to go back, especially if he's playing this aggressively like Chuan. Gets a lot of free hits here. And yes, it does return some damage. Stout Shield does block out some of it, but all the same, it's very important for him to keep just pecking away at him and make sure the Centaur has to go back to base at least once.
He's about out of region already. Only 1 tango there. Batrider June for Invictus Gaming up at the top. Similar Dory, not quite as similar. He's got the boots first, but Dazzle's not making his life easy. Kabu forcing him out as much as possible. In mid, we've actually got this Viper being very, very annoying, sort of orb walking around the tower with that poison attack, getting free hits in there on Ferrari 430 as he was farming behind that tier 1. He started null tally first, 5 and 3, so he's doing okay in the middle lane, but it's going to be Viper dominating it for the most part.
Yep, so we're going to see Cheesebug pop his Salve and Clarity up as well. He's going to cover the bottom rune spawn, probably just pick up these illusions to help his jungle a little bit more. Red is up very far forward, gets hit by the clap, the chilling touch, and the crit. This is just too much for him to handle. He'll buy a TP scroll, but he has already decided he's going down. That is going to be the first blood spilled by the Brewmaster, played by Lua.
Yeah, the Chilling Touch really helping out there with, what is it, at level 1? The 50? Yeah, the 50 magic damage coming through, just sort of chunking away at the Centaur War Runner, who's got that Town Portal scroll up, but not much else. And up top lane, the full tri-lane straight in the lane right now. Are they looking to push? I mean, it looks like they are.
Yeah.
Batrider is not here. He's gone to the jungle, and it looks like we will maybe see that sort of lane swapping. You got the melee Lifestealer, so maybe they just want to put the Ion Shell up here, but honestly, Lifestealer does pretty well against Darkseer, even 1v1 a little bit later on. It's not easy for him, but he can make it work, and with the heals of Dazzle coming in every once in a while, I think it'll be too bad.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that he didn't try to go for the Ion Shell on the enemy creeps instead of on himself. He's not really getting much done with this one here, and Dazzle Kabu, he's really on point with this zoning here, but now finally the Ion Shell comes out at least on a creep, and it is going to be keeping the tower alive for a moment. Yeah, Batrider can't start jungle at level 1. There's no way that he kills it off without at least a point in sticky napalm, and even now it's going to be slow going. Like, he's got 6 napalm stacks, 7, 8, but because of that nerf that he received in the last patch, it's still taken a long time to bring these creeps down, and he's just focusing on the 2 in the west here. So, just every ounce of Firefly, and still doesn't kill off the Satyr. 60 HP and regenerating quickly.
Yeah, definitely an effective nerf there to the Batrider. He likes level 3. I mean, that's the earliest you can really jungle effectively. Level 4, a lot of times you'll see them rotate off the lanes at that point. As Kabu, man, this guy's doing a lot early on. He's got his zoning on point, as previously mentioned. He tries to contest the rune there from the Tinker, but actually the rune spawns bottom.
Oh, bottom again.
Invisibility, and it's going to be June that picks it up there. And now we've got Red in some trouble behind his tier 1, and wow, it's going to land. 1-1-1, the Ice Vortex, and we'll see what Chuan wants to max out. Whether it be that Ice Vortex or the Chilling Touch, or honestly even Cold Feet. I mean, you can make a case for all of them.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to put more than 1 point into the Cold Feet just because it seems like a bit of a gambit. There's no reason to rely on it in these situations, but it's a good thing because it can nullify Red's potential to TP out. He bought the scroll earlier, and he didn't use it to go back to lane. He wanted to use it defensively, but Cheesebug is going to not be body blocked by Kabu. Pops the Surge, and that's going to be plenty to get him out of that situation. But yeah, if the Centaur felt he had the opportunity to TP out, he certainly would have, but he was taking a lot of damage very quickly, and more importantly, that Cold Feet was on him. So at that point, if it's been on you for over a second already, you're not going to be able to just roll away, and that makes it impossible to retreat. So he just TPs back down bottom to an empty lane. There are no creeps here, as they are being pulled out rather efficiently behind the tower for IG.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a neat combo down here, that Ice Vortex with that increased damage, magic damage, or decreased resistance, whichever it really truly does, synergizes quite nicely with the Thunderclap, and then you got the crit chance afterwards for a strong physical presence from the Brew. But up top now, June being surged forward here onto Kabu. The Grave will go out, and I think that's going to be enough to keep him alive right now. It will be. 3 stacks of Napalm, but gets away with about 6 HP when the Grave runs out. So a rotation up from the jungle here at level 4. June now, I think, is going to go back and retreat. And 6 minutes coming up soon, maybe also trying to control that rune again for his team.
Tongfu not controlling the Radiant Ancients down. This is huge for Ferrari. Even though the Batrider had a little bit of a slow start, he's still going to be finding decent item set for himself pretty early on. June going for the bottle here, as well as, of course, his boots of speed, and maybe able to help out Cheesebug for at least suppressing the Lifestealer, if not getting a kill. But in the meantime, that's buying space for Ferrari to farm up the mid lane, as well as soon the Ancient stack. As soon as he hits level 7, he's probably going to go on it. Could technically go for them now, but without the Soul Ring, it just costs a little bit too much mana. So they consider the bottom lane a victory. The tower actually gets the Soul Ring for Ferrari, and yeah, he can go for the Ancients as soon as he picks that up.
Oh, Kabu, just a second too late on that TP in, but the open wounds there. It will be Zhao picking up the kill there on the Lifestealer. Is that Zhao Love? Or
Yeah,
I'm
Zhao
actually
Love.
pretty unfamiliar with the new Tongfu lineup.
Yeah, well, there was kind of their B team beforehand. Oh, the Primal Split committed down bottom. Red, Feederino. He's going to be dying for the 3rd time. This is going to be a rotation for UU9, but can't stay on top of the Ancient Apparition as much as he would like to. Too many disables from the Panda, but speaking of, LPC coming in with the Hex, Shackles. Will the Viper be able to follow it up? Poison attack will not be in range. Viper Strike, anything? No. The Brewmaster's a little bit too quick, looking for the blink, but the last right click lands. Will he juke? No, the blink is put on cooldown, and he has to stand and fight. Viper struck, going down. A long, slow death for him. And June's going to try to clean up on top of it. Viper has 3 points in Corrosive, but they won't connect with any of Red's spells, so yeah, it's going to be an easy pick for June, and even Red is not certain. I mean, he could get lassoed at a moment's notice with these bottle charges continuing to be expended. So back and forth movement down bottom, but in the end, a lot more kills on the board, in particular for IG.
Yeah, Bats, I mean, off to a slow start, or he was off to a slow start. He's already got the Tranquils and the bottle right now, 1,000 gold as Brewmaster Zhao, I believe, claimed that bottom tier 1, did get the last hit on it. So a little bit of tower gold going over to his allies as a result of that, and I mean, they were even starting to work on the tier 2. They threw out the first primal split of the game. The Brewmaster did eventually fall at the end of that, but it's 5-2 right now. It was a okay first primal split, I would say. Zhao Love, though, farming up great here for Tongfu, looking to make the difference when it matters. He's got the phase boots, another 1,600 gold. You think he's going, I mean, what are Lifestealers going for these days? Do you think he goes for Armlet here? Do you think he maybe wants a Midas? He's got a lot of gold pulled up.
This is not a Midas game. You don't want to take late game Tinker. You don't want to take late game Ancient Apparition with the Nagadims. You need to really just exploit the fact that Lifestealer is a hero that can be active early. If he was free farming a 5-minute Midas, I'd be fine with it, but with phase boots and at this position in the game, there's better choices. Blink Dagger, Armlet, things that keep him in the fight and more active.
Blink, honestly.
Yeah, Blink is fine, Armlet's fine, they're both good, but if you go Midas, you're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, maybe even the S and Y, get that early race car build out. Could just be buying drums in full too to help out his team. Centaur not going to be bringing any drums to the table anytime soon if maybe he were to get them. I suppose a Viper could as well, but Viper with the treads and Aquila going to be working on that mech right now. And it's Midas, so alright.
Yeah, I mean, it has its potential if he can really just be farming everywhere, but the way they've not really contested the Tinker's farm, I think that Ferrari's just going to be able to show what he can do with this hero. Tinker getting his BOTs very shortly at around the 10-minute mark, and then being able to just continuously farm throughout the Radiant Jungle. Like we've mentioned how the Bat Rider and the Darkseer can clear it pretty efficiently, but the Tinker can certainly do that as well, and he's going to have Blink Dagger at a great timing, transition into maybe Dagon 1, into Ethereal Blade, and from there it's going to be tough for Tongfu to find kills. They have some good magic damage with Double Edge, with Viper Strike, with Ether Shock, but when it comes down to it, their mid to late game dominance is going to be on the back of this Lifestealer getting his right clicks in.
Stampede out onto Ferrari 430, the Viper Strike thrown as well, Double Edge comes through, and it will be a kill. But not before he had bought those Boots of Travels. Now the Primal Split to follow it up here from Zhao onto UUU9, the Viper. It looks like Red will fall again, but Viper being chased here. Behind his tier 1, another boulder going to go out. I don't think they've got enough. Maybe if he's got a stomp after this, but to the tier 2, I think he's just going to go ahead and just farm up, maybe blink away.
So we're going to see maybe some pushing come through pretty soon. The Mass Serpent Wards are only 100 experience off. They want to get a Shackles off on Cheesebug, but that's not going to happen. It's just going to drop down a Sentry Ward as I thought Cheesebug was moving there to drop some obs down. In the end, some boots are going to come out for both sides. BOTs up for Tinker, very important for him, of course. I don't think that needs to be said, but also the Tranquil boots coming out for the Centaur Warrunner. Red has to hold those little booties tight because that's really all that he's going to be able to claim for this first 11 minutes of the game. There is going to be a lasso blink onto LPC. Easy kill on the Shadow Shaman, and even though he has the Mass Serpent Wards available, they're not going to be making an impact for quite some time.
Yeah, that's the unveiling of the Blink Dagger. June on the Bat Rider with that. Chuan picking up the kill with the Ice Blast. Already level 7, so really, really good levels right now. You look at the Shadow Shaman, at least he's 6. He does just go down there. Dazzle only 5, but you've got, well, really only one support in Chuan. He's up to level 7 right now. The Darkseer level 8, Batrider level 9, along with a Tinker, so doing very well. Kabu forced to throw out the Shallow Grave. Xiao Love trying to do what he can with his open wounds damage, focusing it all onto June. Now the Stampede coming through the wall, going to be dropped up here by the Darkseer. Trying to give them a fighting chance, but Cheesebug will fall right now. And Chuan dominating with a huge Ice Blast. Double kill right now for Cheesebug off of that wall damage. Maybe some Ion Shell and double kill there as the Viper falls at the end to Tinker. Ferrari 430 TPing up into that engagement.
Wards are going to go down in the mid lane, so they're going to try to tier 1 for a tier 1, and that's kind of the one thing you can do with a Shadow Shaman is just say, screw my team, I'm going to make some profit across the other side of the map. But maybe Ferrari goes for the deny here against Massive Rewards, the micro, the fake casting, but in the end the auto attack goes, and yeah, the Shadow Shaman will pick up the last hit. They also fortify up top, maybe trying to defend this. Lifestealer's coming in, he's got rage, he's really willing to hold his own here, and it looks like they will actually just get a superior tower exchange. So Tongfu winning out in that capacity, but I would almost say that IG benefit more from experience than they do from gold. Like, obviously Ferrari's very item dependent, but once you get your Blink Dagger up on Brewmaster, you're really just gunning for that level 11, the second point of Primal Split here. You're going to see some good right clicks coming on the tower nevertheless, and with the Iron Shell, with Cheesebug here, yeah, there's no way they can test.
Yeah, and I've got to apologize. I've been calling XI here Zhao. For some reason, I thought it was him. I know that wasn't his name. It's Luo there on the Brewmaster, so my brain has... it's fully awake now.
Aliases can be...
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of blame him for...
he's used, to be fair, he's used that tag like 90% of the time.
Yeah, he has. So you almost changed his name to what, I guess, Kai or Zai or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But yeah, Luo on the Brewmaster. So apologies. I'm sure there was some Flamerino for that.
Yeah, but yeah, he's been performing well so far on the Brew and getting success for his team in the early team fights. They're going to have the mech up on the Darkseer soon. And yeah, dropping down the point booster for the Arcanes, just to get the most efficiency so they can engage once again on the mid lane here. Pretty easy pick onto Kabu.
Yeah, that's the target they're going to be looking for most of the time. Just because of the Shallow Grave, at least they can force him to use it on himself.
Ooh,
even the wall going to be dropped down here from Cheesebug. And, I mean, it's a wall, it's a kill, and it's probably going to secure the tier 1 tower. Bottom lane, though, mounting a push. Return damage, Red looking to maybe tank the tower up. Tinker's though coming in, looking to stop this once again. Maybe going to be fighting for the deny against LPC as Darkseer will last hit the middle tower, and Centaur will actually get the last hit there on that bottom tier 1. 12-5 though, so decent kill advantage right now, and Tinker and Brewmaster out front on the net worth for Invictus Gaming.
Yeah. I'm not so sure about dropping the wall there because it does cost 200 mana for your general sustain for even more push, but all the same, it's actually interesting what happens when Viper gets hit by a wall replica and has his illusion while auto-attack him once. And essentially the Corrosive Skin triggers the illusion's Corrosive Skin, which triggers back for an infinite loop until the illusion dies. It does take 300% damage, so it is going to be dropping pretty quickly, but it's just worth noting. Now we see just link forward, and even with the Stampede, UU9 has to retreat.
Yeah, and I don't know if that Ice Blast was even going to be enough on its own, but you've got your Dazzle at least against that Ice Blast trying to fight it, as Xiao Love trying to farm up that stack. Well, there's no lasso here. June hoping for a surge from his team, but it's not there, and the bat will fall. It's a Primal Split that goes off, though. Now on to Red, and Chuan playing this Ancient Apparition like the best. Another Cold Feet there, gonna lock into place. He actually did max Cold Feet, by the way. I didn't expect it either. He goes for the Cold Feet max, as Dazzle will also fall. And a Tornado up on the backside here to Viper. I think that's going to be their signal to retreat. Maybe not. Cheesebug going in. Another Ice Blast in about the same position it landed last time on the Viper. Narrowly misses.
Yeah. Well, honestly, whatever Chuan throws out, as long as he hits his ulti, it's like it just doesn't really matter too much. All his skills are good at level 1, 2, 3, 4. Just throw some Ice Vortexes out, hit the ultis, and yeah, it's going to be very, very impactful indeed. He's halfway to the Aghanim Scepter, and you're talking about Dazzle as a nice little counter to the Ice Blast, and that's very true before the Aghanim Scepter comes out, but I would actually consider it the other way around after the fact. You can't really guarantee anybody's life up against this long duration Ice Blast lasting 17 seconds. Shallow Grave is just delaying the inevitable, really.
The relationship is complicated, the Dazzle and the Ancient Apparition. But yeah, stopping the healing is definitely going to be a very big deal, as we got another surge forward here on the Brewmaster, looking for some pickoffs with the Ion Shell on the big guy. It's a big Ion Shell. Obviously a lot of damage with the Thunderclap.
Yeah,
casual cloak on Viper even as a result of that.
Like, he's not even going to bother going for the mechanism just because he respects Chuan's Ancient Apparition so much. Tinker's going to give the pick off on Shadow Shaman. On the bottom lane, obviously, they use the lasso once again, and pretty much that's just a free kill every 90 seconds or so. So, just a great usage there from June, and pretty much playing that pick as you need to. Actually, Cobb was in an interesting spot here.
They're going to find the Darkseer first to Cheesebug, but he throws out the mech and we'll get the Surge off, and now it's going to be Lua who turns on the Xiao Love here, and then maybe the Viper. Primal Split in 1 second, so yeah, he's going to get that off here. No lasso up for June, obviously, but the rest of his spells coming off a cooldown in about 1 second. The Lifestealer will infest up into the Viper as they try to get away together. It's not going to work, though. Viper falls down. Red with a nice stun onto Chuan, trying to bring him down, but won't be able to. Xiao Love will finish that deal, but it's Chuan for the two cores right now, as who TP's out there? Was that the Lifestealer just narrowly escaping? Kabu will fall after the Grave runs out, and it's a 3-for-1. Chuan, pretty much the only support on IG right now, the only one who falls.
But, you know, despite it being a support killer and us usually downplaying that, he did have a dominating streak. Like, Chuan has been actually massive in these fights, 4-1-9, so his first death, giving some nice little cash to Lifestealer before he rage TPs out. That is pretty consequential, I would say. I mean, Sanjin Yasha are going to be coming out for him, but already the Tinker is just so far online. Like, he's got the lasers at the ready, LPC's using his wards to kill some ancient stacks. They're not in a position where they can actually contest the other side of the map.
Wow, the Serpent Wards dropped for... You don't see this a whole lot of the times. I mean, LPC did what he could, sort of abandoning his team and getting the middle tier 1 and the bottom tier 1 with those Serpent Wards, but they don't feel confident enough to go into Roche, so yeah, he just drops them to farm the Ancients, and
they do have splash damage.
I guess that's something. He finishes a Blink Dagger from this, so I think that's probably worth it in the end.
Yeah. They do have splash damage, so we do see different players, I think Sing Sing's particular towards it, going for like a triple stack and using the Mass Serpent Wards or using Exorcisms, the spells that you usually don't think of to farm Ancients, but it's a worthy cooldown for that if you're not able to take the Roche, and obviously not against Ice Blast. Left, right, and center, you're not going to take Roche anytime soon,
And
so...
yeah, that's where it goes now, that Ice Blast.
Where do we go from here? Tongfu. Obviously, they have some kind of stake in the mid to late game because of Midas, but they really need to get some kills. They're down right now 11, and IG are just running over the enemies. But they have all their ultis, they have their lasso, so I would say kill off the Batrider really quickly and hope that the Aghanim split doesn't tear you apart immediately after.
Here's June, gets the lasso up onto Red, not much of a lifesteal bomb there. Here's the S and Y being unveiled from Xiaolov, but immediately Tongfu lose 3 as their lifestealer pretty much just focuses onto Chuan and can't even get that now. The Primal Split on the other side of the fight, that must have killed everybody else. On to the Viper, but I think it's Lifestealer who dies first. Yes, he dies very, very quickly now the chase continues, and Kabu's going to tap out here. The GG for Tongfu. I mean... We talked about their lineup maybe being so effective and so aggressive early with not a lot of gold on their heroes, but Red can't get off to a start whatsoever.
Yeah.
And, well, it falls apart from there.
I really think it was the Centaur offlane that was where the House of Cards kind of fell. They needed the Blink Dagger up on him early so they could find pickoffs, but instead June gets a massive amount of early farm. He's the one who essentially gives his team 3 or 4 free kills with his back-to-back lassos, and Centaur, a hero that would love to be active, doesn't to engage, to kill off heroes like Tinker frequently, only uses his Stampede defensively, and in general just feeds away. So a really rough game for them. Invictus Gaming taking a very clean win here in only 19 and a half minutes.